Good. What is your mission at the Commission, would you say, suggest? It is to encourage technology transitions and information sharing?
The mission of the Energy Transition Commission, which is a coalition of 55 companies from across the whole world, is to speed the transition to a net zero economy in order to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees centigrade.
Renewables, as you know, in 2024, $570 billion, but to keep pace with the net zero targets to 2050, the expectations and the analysis suggest that needs to triple.
Well, in some places, the pace of development is reasonably fast. In others, it's much slower. So the International Energy Agency calculated that in 2020, total investment in all the categories of clean technology that we need, of which the most important is a clean electricity system, was running at about $1 trillion a year. And that had to grow to about $4 trillion a year by 2030. Latest IEA figures for 2023, I haven't seen their final figures for 2024 yet, say that by then it was already up to about 1.6, 1.7 trillion per annum. So that's heading in the right direction. But the vast majority of that is either in China or it's in the rich developed world, Europe and the US, where there was a big stimulus under the Inflation Reduction Act subsidies. Where we are seeing much less action so far is increases in investment in the broad swathe of middle-income countries, India or Indonesia or Brazil being some of the big ones there.
Big populations, right?
Big populations, relatively small emissions at the moment, but they'll grow rapidly if they don't get on with investing in a clean technology, and very little investment going on in the poorer parts of the world like sub-Saharan Africa. So what we need to see going forward is the maintenance of the investment pace in China, in Europe, and hopefully in the US, despite whatever happens at the federal government level. But we also need to see a much wider spread of investment going into those big middle-income countries, the Indias, the Indonesias, the Brazils, and into the poorer countries, particularly, say, in sub-Saharan Africa.
I wanted to use two case studies. One of them is Africa, and it offers great potential, but cost of capital in Africa, as you know, is extremely high. There's no currency guarantees to protect investors. It's not that complicated. You're a financial person, but we don't do it and we're not moving fast enough.
Yeah, well, essentially there are two things going fantastically well for Africa in terms of expectation. One, it has, as IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, puts it, essentially limitless solar resources. Africa could produce from solar PV 10 times the biggest estimate that anybody has ever produced of all the electricity that the world will ever need to be an incredibly prosperous zero carbon economy. This is limitless. Secondly, the cost of solar panels and the cost of batteries is collapsing. And if you're in a place like Africa, this isn't true in Northwest Europe, but if you're in Africa, solar plus batteries together is all you really need to give you electricity 24 hours a day. So those are the two big things.
And nobody talks about it that way.
And that's the big thing. So we have got to unleash capital flows to seize this opportunity, because the way it works when a country is deciding whether to invest in a gas plant or a solar PV plant is it's hugely dependent on the cost of capital. When you invest in a gas plant, there's capital cost up front, and then there's a big cost of buying the gas over time. When you invest in solar PV, there's more capital cost up front, but then there's zero operating cost thereafter. What that immediately tells you is that the cost of capital is vital. We've got to unleash the capital flows to seize what is an enormous opportunity for Africa to grow and to become prosperous in a zero carbon fashion right from the beginning.